Careful. I have a helper today. So, as I mentioned yesterday in yesterday's live video because we got started on a bunch of this stuff, we're going to actually show you how to use those soaked almonds to turn them into almond milk today. So, hey, Ailey's excited to help. So, yesterday we put the almonds and the sesame seeds just in a bowl to soak. They're frozen, honey. They just feel like frozen. In a minute. In a minute, okay? So I've rinsed them. You don't want to use the soak water in anything. The whole point of soaking your seeds and nuts is to help break down the protective coating on them that makes them harder to digest. And so you don't actually really want to be ingesting that stuff if it's what's soaked into the soak water. But you can see, it's hard to maybe tell, but the almonds are nice and plump because they soaked overnight. Soaking them also helps make them easier to blend in the blender. So, general guideline is 4:1. So 4 parts water to 1 part nuts and seeds. Because I don't need 4 whole cups of almond milk today, I did a 1/4 cup of almonds. So we're gonna make about a cup of almond milk as our final finished product here, and then we're going to use it in the smoothie. We do still consume regular cow's dairy for a lot of things. Almond milk is really nice in a smoothie though, so, and it's one of those things that at this point in what our day-to-day looks like, knowing how to make your own might save you some sanity and save you space, because to go out and buy 6 or 8 cartons of almond milk in the grocery store, 1, isn't possible right now from what I gather. Everybody's running out of stock. And 2, if you buy the stuff in the refrigerated section, if you can get your hands on 6 cartons, you're not maybe going to consume it before it goes bad. Yes, you can probably freeze it, which same can be said about this too. So, and by not buying those cartons, you're producing less waste and you're consuming less of the gross ingredients too. Most of those refrigerated almond and nut and seed milks have guar gum and emulsifiers and other preservatives, not to mention sugar and other things added to them. So this way, you just need a bag of raw almonds, which is fairly easy to come by. And like I said, it's 4:1 ratio. So one of those big bags, even though it might cost you $15 or $18 to buy that big bag at Costco or go to the bulk store or whatever, for that $18, you're going to get way more almond milk out of it than what the cartons are going to cost you. And I know this because this lady back here who is peering over my shoulder was allergic to traditional cow's dairy, anaphylactic, until she was 2. So we found lots of ways to do lots of non-dairy cooking and baking, and it was out of necessity that we learned how to make our own nut and seed milk. And then it was actually a module in my culinary nutrition program. So I felt fairly confident in that module because I already kind of knew what I was doing. You can use whatever nuts and seeds you prefer. So if you want to try a hazelnut milk, go for it. If you want to try a Brazil nut milk, again, go for it. It might be more expensive to... It does tickle. It might be a little more expensive to buy those nuts than almonds, although these days almonds are getting kind of expensive, and I know there's lots of environmental questions about them as well. Their effect on their local climate in the places that grow them, the effect on the bees and that kind of thing. So if you want to do research on that, please feel free. We did do a lot of cashew milk when she was a baby as well. Just have to be more cautious with that one in this house because our oldest is allergic to cashews. So we kind of... It's a balance, right? This one I know I can use for all 4 of the girls, where the cashew milk I can't use for the oldest. So it is what it is. It's a creamier, smoother one. It's great for making like fermented nut cheeses and stuff if you want to go that direction, but this one's a pretty basic for today. So to get started, we're going to throw the seeds and the nuts in the blender. I did use sesame seeds in these if you didn't watch yesterday's video. Sesame seeds, actually, the raw, unroasted, are a really high source of bioavailable calcium. They actually have more calcium than the almonds do, and way more calcium than you get from cow's milk. So I added a little bit of them in because it's just a really great boost. So we're gonna throw them in the blender. So you're gonna see my back for a minute. Okay, you help. Get them in there. Yeah, we're gonna scrape them in. Yeah, thank you. That's very good helping.
Good job, Mommy.
Oh, good job, Mommy. Thank you. You did a good job too. Okay, now you get to help with the next part. We're gonna pour in the water.
I want to.
Yeah, you help me. Take it and pour it in. go.
Yes.
So, yes. So for a quarter cup of nuts and seeds, we added a cup of water. Now it's going to get noisy because we're going to blast it in the blender, and it does take a couple of minutes. So, yes, we're going to put that in once we are using the milk to make a smoothie. Right now, we're making the almond milk first. So do you want to push the button?
Yeah.
It's going to get loud. Okay, so I'm not done, but I am going to scrape some of the sesame seeds. Got a little pushed up when we first started, so I'm pushing them down in. And realistically, you want to give it a couple minutes in here. With almond milk, we are going to strain it, so it doesn't have to be completely smooth. It will be soon. It doesn't have to be as completely smooth, where if you were making cashew milk, one of the beautiful things about cashew milk is that you don't have to strain it. They blend super smooth. It does smell good. Where the almonds, you are going to want to strain just because there is a lot of pulp in there and it's not super yummy to drink it. So we're going to blast it again. So here comes the noise. Okay, my helper is helping. So if you are so lucky to have a Vitamix, you could probably get it done in a lot less time. This is just your regular old high-powered Oster blender. A Vitamix probably gives you way better results. But give it a good couple minutes till you can see that all of the bits of pulp are about the same, right? You don't want any huge, massive chunks in there.
Mommy,
and then, in a minute, honey. Then we're gonna strain it through a nut milk bag. So now this, if you don't have one, you don't need one. It just makes it a lot easier, especially because it has the string and it can close tight. You can use a super fine cheesecloth, so fold it over more than once. Because cheesecloth is really flimsy, when you get to the point where you're squeezing, you don't want it to burst and then have the pulp just dump right back in, which is where one of these comes in handy. I got this one on Amazon. I'm pretty sure you can buy them at most bulk food stores. Keep an eye out for one that is like an organic cotton rather than the nylon mesh. I haven't heard super great things about the nylon mesh ones just because, again, they can break, they can hurt you. Because it's nylon mesh, it's a little bit tougher, and so you might actually end up hurting yourself. Careful, honey. This one is just organic cotton. I rinse it in the sink when I'm done. Like, you don't even have to wash it in the washing machine. You don't actually want to do that. You don't want detergents in it. So it fits over the bowl, and then you just pour your concoction in. And then this is the fun part. This is the part of the module with my culinary class that always makes people laugh because my instructor, Megan, refers to this thing as a nutsack. Yes, I see that my brother-in-law, Scott, is watching. That was mostly for you because I think you would find it hilarious. But then when we get to this point, she also then squeezes the bag and says she is milking the nuts. Yes, Scott, that's for you too. So this is where having one of these bags makes it a little bit easier because you can just kind of squeeze the liquid through. You can see how it comes out. The organic cotton, thank you. That is good helping. This is why we let the kids come help. The organic cotton is nice and strong, so I can give it a super hard squeeze and not worry that I'm going to burst the whole thing open and have all this pulp. You can see how much is in there. If that ended up back in there, then we'd be at square one and have to start this process again. Okay, so that is us. If you were going to just drink this as regular almond milk, she's quite happy with it as it is. If you wanted to sweeten it, you could throw in a little bit of pure vanilla extract, throw in a soaked date. I would recommend if you're going to use a date, throw it in at this stage before you're straining it, so that when you do strain it, any of the chunks of date, potentially chunks of pit, because even if they're pitted dates, they might not be completely pitted, get strained out at the same time, but they add a little bit of sweetness without adding any refined sugar. You'll lose most of the fiber because you're then straining it out. I mean, that's one of the bonuses of using dates for sweetening, is that you get that added fiber, but if we're straining it out in this case. Okay, shush. So I'm going to disappear off camera for like 30 seconds. I'm going to rinse the blender because we're going to now dump the milk back in and we're going to make a smoothie. Ailey, keep them entertained.
I will.
Okay.
I will keep it over here.
You'll keep it over there? Talk to the camera. Say hi.
Hi.
All right. So we are rinsed and ready to roll again. Actually, I'm going to rinse the lid too. The rest of this process is fairly straightforward. I think most of you have made a smoothie before, but so with the, okay, let go for 1 second. With the pulp, I mean, there you'll have some left over in the bag. It just kind of looks like crumbs. You can do all kinds of stuff with this if you want. You can bake with it. You can add it into granola and muffins and any kind of stuff like that. Yes, honey. You feel it. It is frozen. It freezes well, so if you want to stockpile it and save it, you can use it in place of flour in some baking. It's not a one-to-one though, so it would be one of those things that you would maybe be enhancing the flour in something. So again, in a waste not, want not world, you can save that for lots of stuff. I will probably hang on to this bag because I haven't made almond milk in a while, and use the pulp in... God! Use the pulp in something, probably granola or granola bars this week. So there we go. It was flashing back to the Goonies. Okay, so for our smoothie, I want you not to touch the buttons again. We're going to put our almond milk back in the blender. So regardless of what smoothie you're making, you always need some liquid. Pretty much everybody knows that one. We're going to make... No, it's not ready yet, so don't touch anything. Now that there's liquid in there, it's a disaster if you touch anything. I'm going to throw the frozen mango and frozen raspberries in first so that they are closest to...
Oh, I love frozen.
They're closest to the blade so that they get smoothed up.
Oh.
The mango and raspberry in this one is just going to be our sweet... Yes, baby.
Can I dump one in?
Yes, you can dump this one in a second, okay? Generally in a smoothie, your sweet's going to come from fruits. So you can dump those in. You turn around, ready?
I want to dump them in.
Mango raspberry is one the girls love, so and it's easy. And the flavors are strong enough and the colors are bright enough that we can then hide a whole bunch of green stuff. So I'm going to put in cucumber.
I want to put the cucumbers in. I'll put
Okay.
the cucumbers in.
Cucumber
I'll put the
is...
cucumbers in. I'll put the cucumbers
Yes, so
in.
put those in. Cucumber is a great source of bioavailable vitamin C, but only when it is freshly cut. The longer it sits after cutting, the faster the vitamin C
Mommy,
depletes. Yeah, put the rest in. So fresh cut cucumber, we're throwing them in for vitamin C.
I put them in.
We're gonna throw in a couple chunks of frozen avocado so that we get some
I
fat
will put them in.
for our brains.
Mommy, over here.
Again, you don't need
Mommy,
loads, but
Mommy.
some fat is good.
Mommy.
And then we want some fiber. So I'm throwing in ground flax, frozen spinach, and frozen kale as our fiber. So I'm going to throw in 2 tablespoons of the ground flax.
I won't put something.
Okay. Ready? Dump. And another one. Dump. Ready? Dump. Good job.
I'm helping Mommy.
Yes, you are helping. And then, oh, right. Protein. So
I'll help
for
you.
a well-rounded smoothie, you want fiber, fat, protein, fruits and veggies, and ideally something fermented, but we're not using kefir or yogurt today. We're using the almond milk, so you can throw your fermented food in somewhere else, but you want an optimal amount of fat and protein as well as fiber. So because it's liquid, right? The liquid is easier for your body to absorb and assimilate. So you drink it and your body is going to almost immediately start absorbing that. Yes, I know. So if you don't have optimal fat and protein in there, then you're going to be hungry in about 20 minutes after you drink your smoothie. If you don't have enough fiber, which comes from stuff like the flax and the spinach and the kale, you're going to feel hungry again because you've absorbed it so quickly that it's the rule of volumetrics. The more volume you can consume in a meal that is nutrient dense volume, so that does not mean eat 20 pounds of french fries, because it's not nutrient dense. Your body will still work through that really quickly, where a half a cup of spinach and kale by volume is significantly more, and it will take up more space in your stomach, and it gives your body something to do during the digestion process. What we're doing in a smoothie is starting the digestion process. We're blending it to liquid, so your body's not going to have to work nearly so hard to work through all of that fiber, which is why you want to bolster it with protein and fat as well. Okay, we're going to put a scoop of protein. So this is the Epicure Vanilla Optimum. I know, but people can't hear what I'm saying. This is the Epicure's vegan Optimum Vanilla. The vanilla flavor is great because it's not as strong as the chocolate. I love the chocolate protein and I use it in all kinds of stuff, but it's chocolate. So this smoothie being raspberry and mango, we don't want an overwhelming chocolate flavor. 1 serving is 20 grams of protein. If we're going to split this smoothie between the 4 girls for their snack, that means they're only going to get about 5 grams of protein each, but we will have toast with some sunflower butter or something to give them a little bit extra. It is hemp and pea protein, so there's no soy, there's no whey in this one. It does have probiotics in it that are heat stable, so that if you were going to bake with them, they're not going to die. They will do what they are supposed to do in your stomach and help your gut biome. So we're going to do 1 scoop. Ellie, honey, watch it. We're going to dump this in. Yep. Put that scoop in. If you were making this for yourself and you were going to consume the entire quantity of it, you would probably use a little bit less than what I'm putting in here, but I would still recommend the same amount of fat and the same amount of protein for one adult to consume, where these guys will be eating something else with this, so I don't mind. So we're going to use some frozen spinach. Ready? You help? You watch it go in? There we go. You can use fresh as well. Just the whole idea behind this whole series of live videos that I'm doing is that I'm showing you how to use stuff that you might already have in the freezer or the pantry without having to go out for too much fresh stuff, because we're supposed to be social distancing and, you know, not going into public places more often than we need to. So the frozen stuff is great. One of the great things about frozen veggies is that they're picked at their prime and flash frozen right then, instead of being picked before they're maybe fully ripe to go on a truck to sit in the produce section, or, I mean, a farmer's market, you're in a better position because they probably picked it that morning or the day before to get ready for market. But the stuff in the grocery store is potentially picked weeks before it's actually ripe and at its prime, where frozen stuff is picked while it's ripe and ready to be consumed, so that they can flash freeze it and send it to you. So especially being Canadian, I know I have some of my UK in-laws watching and things like that. But at this time of year, getting our hands on fresh stuff is harder because we haven't started our growing season yet. So yeah, we're gonna put them in too. Okay, there we go. Now we need to put the lid on, and then it's gonna get noisy in here again. I use more spinach than kale in a smoothie because kale has a bitter flavor. No, don't push the button. The spinach has a more benign flavor, right? The kale has lots of nutrients, so we're going to use a little bit of it. But yes, now you can. It's going to get noisy, folks. Yes, it might be time to invest in a stronger blender. Oh my goodness, I know, that's one of your favorite parts. You love the loud. So,
I love the loud.
You may have noticed I had to add some more water. That's one of the only drawbacks with using frozen stuff is that it gets really thick really fast once you start blending it. So I needed to add a little bit more water to get it smooth. Okay, push the button. This one. No, it's not happy now. We killed it.
Oh.
Oh. All right, hang on there, kid. So,
I love it.
and that's
I want my
that.
unicorn
Yes, I know you're gonna have your unicorn cup. So I'm gonna show you our finished product here. Some delicious smoothie, and that's it. That's us. So, cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Let me know what else you want to learn. It's noisy here, my sister-in-law Jane says. It's really noisy here too. So thanks for watching, guys. Oh, it's a good one. Cheers. Stay safe out there. Bye.